Alexander. How are you doing? Welcome to
Very
Cassandra.
good. Thank you very much, Armin. I'm very fine. What about you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad that we
Good.
have the chance to talk because you are a practitioner. You are an academic. You did a lot of work on this. You did a lot of research on this. And I think the construction industry, as we kind of, before we hit the record button, we quickly discussed is 13% of world GDP, if this number is correct. It's massive. And it's not really digitized at all. So maybe take us back, like where are we at? Where are we coming from? Like what's in the pipeline?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Armin. It's the situation is that's the paradox of construction industry in the world. You're absolutely right. It is 30% of the world GDP, the biggest ecosystem. If you also consider, of course, uh, real estate, construction materials production, everything that is
Right.
inside of this ecosystem. At the same time, it is lagging behind most of the industries. EBITs are about 5%. Projects are usually delayed, either in time or in money, or over budgeted. This leads to customer dissatisfaction. The level of innovation and the digitalization is the lowest across a lot of industries. And this is one side of construction industry. Another one is absolutely magnificent structures, very innovative, like Burj Al Khalifa in United Arab Emirates, Brooklyn Bridge, etc., etc. Outstanding, fantastic tunnels, roadworks, luxury buildings. So something doesn't fit in here. And the thing is that the construction industry has been underperforming not only today, but historically for many years. That's why I did my research in the innovations within the construction industry so
Right.
that they could be applied in practice. And for that research, as we discussed, was awarded with a Doctor of Business Administration degree, uh, which is proven its both academic and practical value.
And you are a practitioner, so do you want to take us like, to some of the findings, like what innovation or what kind of findings, what did you discover?
Mm-hmm. The discoveries that I made were absolutely practical, as I said. My particular interest was lying in the field of the successful innovations. Innovation is a buzzword now.
Right.
Everybody says innovation, innovation, and it's very trendy to be innovative, or at least to claim you're innovative.
Yes.
But
For sure, the latter.
For a lot of companies, innovation has become a part of the corporate culture, meaning what you declare, rather than the company culture, meaning what you actually do in practice. So the biggest question is how to successfully develop and implement innovations. Not necessarily in construction industry, although my research was a little bit skewed towards the construction sector. So I identified 15 success factors, key success factors and preconditions that help the innovation to be successful. As always in the business, there's no guarantee in this world. But if you properly use these factors and preconditions, then there is a better chance that your innovation will be successful.
I mean, 15 is a lot, but like, should we go through like, a few of them? Maybe like highlight the ones that you think are most significant?
Yeah, actually, my research proved that some are more significant and important,
Right.
and carry more weight. Of course, 15 is very much. I'm not going to go that down. Actually, my dissertation is published. Whoever is interested can read it on, say, academia.edu or researchgate.net. It's not. So the biggest thing about innovation is that first of all, innovation is not a one-off thing you do. That's a continuous process that you should that the management of the organization should do all the time. It's not like you implement something and you forget about it. The second thing is that innovation has been for years mistakenly taken as the task of R&D department. They do innovation. They invent new products, not us. This is not for us. Not invented here. We are not from that. That's one of the biggest mistakes. Innovation is in an organizational action. Everybody in the organization should be involved in the innovation process. Actually, one of my students asked me a question. Everybody is impossible. 100% is impossible to get involved in innovation. And frankly speaking, McKinsey came up with a figure: 7% of the people within an organization should be involved in the change, in innovation. It's more about the quality of the people rather than the quantity, right? Next thing about the innovation is that doing it within multifunctional teams works better. If you have an innovation champion, that's good. One person, maybe with a lot of authority, responsibility, having budgets is good. But if you involve cross-functional teams, the innovation has more chances to be successful, and everything works better. Interesting phenomenon is you don't have to actually invent innovation. You can borrow it from somebody else. And that's a very critical success factor. Don't invent the wheel. See what other people are doing within your industry or adjacent industries. For example, for construction industry to become another Alphabet is too far a road to go.
Right.
But in a construction industry can very easily copy, modify, and implement some of the approaches of the industries that has already gone through innovation. For example, shipbuilding or aircraft building, which are more or less similar, much closer. And you understand I'm a fan of innovation, so I can talk a lot about that.
No,
but
sure,
I actually gave you a couple of hints how it works.
Can you give us maybe like some case studies or companies or like pretty much cases where you think this has been well done or this has been like a catastrophe? Do you have any of these case studies in mind that it's become we can see like, okay, what have they done well?
Of course I can. I can give you an example of the company that I worked for some time ago. It's not from the construction industry, it's from soft drink business. You might have heard about such a company called Coca-Cola. Is that the case?
Yes, I've heard about them. By the way, you do work in the construction industry, just like that everyone knows now in a very innovative company.
Yes, I do work in a very innovative company. That's correct. I will give you an example of the things that we did many years in Coke, many years ago in Coke, because soft drink industry is much more developed than a lot of other industries. The example is I will speak about now about product innovation. Actually. There was a crisis, and the income of the people went down very well. So we had, and they couldn't afford buying standard Coke or standard Sprite, Fanta products because they were too expensive for them. And
sorry, that's company, which market? Which market is that?
That was Eastern Europe market.
Right.
And our company turned to the expertise that was available within the company. And we developed a special kind of a drink. Actually, we copied it from our African colleagues that already went through such a disruption. And they introduced to the market, alongside the regular Coke, they introduced a cheaper lemonade, also produced by the Coca-Cola company with a different name, with different route to market, that will allow for the period of disruption, for the period of couple of years to support the market share, and then be replaced later by regular Coke back. So because Coca-Cola is a great system, it's a huge company. So we didn't actually have to invent anything. We took this approach. We actually even took the brand. The name was Fructime. We took the recipe for the concentrate and introduced it to the market. After a couple of years, we stopped. We discontinued production of this product because the economy grew, the income became better, the out-of-pocket spending improved, and gradually we phased out this simpler, cheaper product in favor of our core brands.
Interesting.
So this is an example of a very successful innovation.
Why didn't you just make it more expensive? That would be the logical conclusion, no? If it's on the market, if it's selling, just make it more expensive when it's like, you know, your market is adapting.
That could be the case, but the company was very much concentrated on developing core brands. That's the top priority. This was a small tactical brand, and we didn't want to really invest in that. Right. I also worked for a company called Cadbury. You might have heard about that.
Of course.
And at that time, Cadbury was doing a process innovation, actually a technology innovation, introducing SAP as an accounting system. And so there were a lot of trainings, there were a lot of discussions, some external experts were invited, people sat in the offices, but it didn't work. And the reason was that there was not enough order and discipline to do this innovation. Everybody attended the trainings and seminars, but didn't listen. Nobody cared. A lot of people think that innovation is connected with creativity, which is correct. But creativity innovation doesn't mean chaos. You have to use the organizational bureaucracy in a good sense, the discipline, the existing systems and culture of the organization to implement the innovation. And in Cadbury, the systems were not designed for such a powerful and complicated tool as SAP. Nobody wanted to get into that. So after a half year of struggle, the company decided to postpone implementation of SAP. And you might remember, finally it was sold to Kraft Foods without SAP implemented in many markets.
Interesting.
So this is this is what I call a paradox of innovation. On one hand, you need creativity. On the other hand, you please don't forget about the systems and bureaucracy, which is like a scaffold. If I can use this metaphor, it's like a scaffold for the construction site. You use it to build up. If you don't have a scaffold, then your site is gone. You can't build a high building.
Alexander, like when you think now back, or when you think to the construction industry, obviously, you know, in the current company that you're working, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of different, you know, ways, different innovations that you're working on. Is there something that like stands out to you in the construction industry, to give a little bit of an outlook, let's say what's coming, or right now, what's really of interest?
The construction industry is basically in line with the whole, let's say, innovation ecosystem in the world. For construction industry, the biggest thing is digitalization. Digital processes are replacing a lot of manual work in terms of making projects making calculations. So far, artificial intelligence, drones and other augmented reality cannot replace a physical worker at the construction site.
Right.
This is impossible. And this is actually one of the reasons the industry is still behind many industries where physical manual work has already been replaced. But drones help to do the surveillance of the terrain that you want to develop. Computer-aided development of projects. Architects are not doing anything with the pencil right now. Augmented reality helps to visualize the whole projects that you want to make, and also helping a lot to get the people on board to support it. So the biggest challenge for construction industry is going more and more into the digital world. In the construction industry, this blurring of the boundaries is not that big yet. If you now take, for example, any bank, that you will see that it's not a bank actually. It's an IT company with a banking license, because they do insurance, they do banking, they sell travel tickets and a lot of stuff. In construction industry, it is not usually like this. If you produce cement, then you produce cement. If you develop, do the development, then you build houses, right? If you are an engineering company, you develop projects. But still, there is a lot of room for digitalization that will definitely improve the productivity and improve the growth rate.
Is there any particular opportunity when you just mentioned, okay, so we have the developers, we have the the cement company or whatever? Is there any particular opportunity where you see that, or where you think, wow, I don't understand why there's nobody kind of solving this particular problem?
For construction industry, the biggest opportunity is in going more into the improving the building technology. What I mean by this is that we have a great chance to use materials of new generation. For example, the materials that would keep the houses warmer, so you don't have to heat it. You can save the
insulation
energy cost. Thermal insulation, what you call in a professional language. Or there is a great opportunity to save more water by using better piping systems. And I couldn't say that nobody is trying to do that. There are a lot of companies, including ours, who are developing such products and trying to do such stuff. But I would say the pace of this development is much slower than I would expect it to be. For example, when you produce construction chemistry, you use a lot of chemical components that are hazardous for environment. And this is being replaced. And the green approach, you can see now a lot of eco marking on the products. But the pace is quite small, because the industry is very conservative, as I said, and a lot of workers, they don't want to get on something new. For example, they might say, listen, of course, this material is more environment friendly, very nice, but it's not bonding that well, it's not curing that fast, and other things. And this is actually where the construction industry should go, towards the more green operations, and operations that are trying that are helping with the saving energy, saving water and other resources.
Interesting. And do you see any particular is it, or in other words, is it just a matter of cost why we haven't seen it yet? so much as we would like to see it? Is it just, okay, oh wow, this material is way more expensive, and that's why we probably don't want to do it? Or is it really the complacency? Like, well, let's pin down why it's slow.
It's slow because the industry is very conservative. It's a mixture of different factors. Same as with the success factors. You can't use just one. You need a combination of them to make your innovation successful, right?
I see.
Same approach works here. You actually there's a combination of factors. One that you mentioned, that it's more expensive, is absolutely correct. Another one is that the industry is very conservative. In construction industry, more than any other industry, nobody likes change. And the biggest problem is that risk taken in construction industry is very costly in every respect that you can think of. Okay, let us imagine that you use a new fertilizer in the field. If it doesn't work, so the fertilizer is more expensive, but let's say it's more environment friendly. Okay, in one field, there's no harvest. If things go wrong, you don't have, there's no grain. Okay, you use a new product in construction industry. Let's say building, if you make a residential building. Just imagine if it collapses because the material you use was new, it was more expensive, it was more environment friendly, but you were not sure of that. But you are not sure if it can hold the weight of the structure, because for all of your life you have been using another one. It is cheaper. Okay, it's not that environment friendly, but you're sure about that. The risks in the construction industry are much higher, and that's why it is much more regulated by the governments. And this is actually another hinge, because suppose you develop a very good green technology or a very good green product, to introduce it to the market, you have to get a lot of governmental approvals. In construction, there is very little you can do without licenses, certificates, protocols, approvals, and it takes years to get them. And it's a very costly process. So these are the basic reasons that the innovation in construction industry doesn't go that fast as we would like it to be.
That's very interesting. So it's like a little bit like finance. So much regulation that like the new entry, the entry barriers are very high for like new, players to come in and shake things up. All right.
Armin, you're absolutely right. And I would like to point out one thing. I work for a big international companies. We are working in like 50 countries. And the regulations in all companies are so different that there's no one single approach that you can take. You have to follow every rule in every country. I was actually very much surprised to understand that if you are within the European Union and you have a certain technology or a product which is licensed in your country, for example, France, and you want to sell it to your neighbor, Germany, then you have to license it again with the German government. The European Union accreditations, protocols, certificates don't work. You go all the way again, the whole cycle. So it's like this, but that's the characteristics of the industry. That's the market.
Interesting. And like you're very much responsible for the Russian market, right?
Mm-hmm. Eastern Europe, including Russia.
Mm-hmm. Including Russia. Is there any interesting developments that you see there when you talk to people, when you go out and see what's going on? Any particular opportunities that you would say, oh wow, here we should look at this?
Actually, I have seen a lot of other markets, and I've spoken, say, France, Turkey, Germany, and I've talked to a lot of professionals there, and I have spent a lot of time in the construction sites there. The opportunity for Eastern Europe is that uh, the people involved in the construction industry of Eastern Europe are more ready to take the risk, to try something new, to get involved with the new technology. For example, if you introduce some thermoinsulation technology, the people in Poland would be very much more willing to try it, to experiment, rather than say in somewhere in Western Europe. And this is the big opportunity for the industry to develop faster and even to somehow be ahead of the more developed markets, already stable economies.
It's a very interesting trend because I think you see this in many industries that actually, like, when we want to call it, let's say, more emerging markets, or like, slightly less advanced markets, they can actually like leapfrog, or they adopt technology just in any realm or any innovation like much, much faster. For all sorts of reasons. Okay, Alexander, so thank you so much for taking the time. Apart from Cassandra, where can people follow your work or find you?
Oh, thank you so much to Armin. People can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm a professor of innovation after all, so I am everywhere. Ubiquitous internet, as you know.
Okay, so perfect. Alexander, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Armin.
All right, bye.